Secretary's desk has an announcement. The people sitting in sections 139, 105, 132, 112, 134, and 110, can you guys please move? That is where our VPs will be giving their speeches. We need you to move and find seats someplace else. Again, those sections are 139, 105, 132, 112, 134, and 110. Individuals sitting in those sections, can you guys please find a different place to sit? Thank you.
The convention hall will come to order. We are now holding the business session of the 88th Iowa FFA Leadership Conference. Mr. Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they are at their stations, and report back to you, Mr. President. The Sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duties there?
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that the door is open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to Puerto Rico and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The treasurer.
Stationed at the emblem of Washington.
Your duties there?
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm accounts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standings through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties there?
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I am asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice is always based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom could accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the president so stationed?
The rising sun is a token of a new era in agriculture. If we will follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Mr. President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
I am pleased to announce that at the business session of the 88th Iowa FFA Leadership Conference, there are 4,615 members, advisors, and guests from over 203 chapters present. Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. FFA members, why are we here? To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess. May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare this, the business session of the 88th Iowa FFA Leadership Conference, duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented. Welcome to the 88th Iowa FFA Leadership Conference in the 2016 business session. As delegates, each and every one of you has an essential role in today's activities. Your contribution is vital to the success of the Iowa FFA Association. Today, we'll hear the financial report, gather input from our 2016 state committees, conduct the official business of the Iowa FFA, and hear from the 2016 State Officer Nominating Committee, who will ballot your 2016-2017 Iowa FFA officers. As delegates, not only do you have the opportunity, but also the obligation to select the students who are committed, capable, and dedicated to living a life of service. The 9 people you select today will log thousands of hours in behind-the-scenes work, travel thousands of miles along Iowa's roadways, and manage their time and talents in order to best serve the more than 14,500 Iowa FFA members. Before we begin, there is one person we must recognize. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the parliamentarian for the business session, Mr. Jack Cook. Before you are able to cast your vote of influence, we must secure an accurate count of delegates. The total number of votes must equal the total number of delegates. Please be patient as the coordinators get an accurate delegate count. Coordinators, please report to the Secretary's desk once you are finished.
Bethany Schneider, will you please report to the Secretary's desk at this time? Bethany Schneider, please report to the Secretary's desk now.
Mr. President, there are 355 delegates present representing 179 chapters.
The Courtesy Corps will now secure the delegate floor. If you must leave the delegate floor at any time, you must be escorted by a member of the Courtesy Corps and check in and out with the Secretary's desk. If you wish to speak during the business session, please stand to be recognized. When you receive recognition from the chair, an officer or coordinator will greet you with a microphone so that you can be heard. Please state your chapter and name so it may be recorded in the minutes. Once again, please state your chapter and your name so it may be recorded in the minutes, then proceed with your discussion. At this time, I invite the Iowa FFA Secretary, Kayla Kailberg, to the podium to present the minutes of the 87th Iowa FFA Leadership Conference.
The delegate business session was called to order by President Abermeyer at 10:02 a.m. on Monday, April 20th, 2015. Roll call of delegates was taken and showed 362 delegates present from 186 chapters. Mr. Jack Cook served as the official parliamentarian of the delegate business session. The 2014-2015 Iowa FFA Secretary, Lee Thompson, read the minutes of the 86th Iowa FFA Leadership Conference. Thompson moved to accept the minutes as read. The motion passed by general consent. For the Treasurer's Report, Mr. Scott Johnson, Iowa FFA Executive Secretary, presented the Iowa FFA Association Financial Report. Dakota Cooley of the Marengo FFA moved to accept the financial report. Hannah Lay of the Audubon FFA chapter seconded the motion. The motion passed. The Auditing Committee Chair, Dylan Schrock of the Mid-Prairie FFA chapter, presented the committee report. Schrock moved to accept the report and implied second. The motion passed. The Program of Activities Committee Chair, Marissa Pham from the Sibley-Ocheyedan FFA chapter, read the committee report. Pham moved to accept the report with an implied second. The motion passed. Peyton Sash of the LaPorte-Deiser FFA chapter moved to set the Iowa FFA Association members' dues for the 2015-2016 year at $7.50 per member under the new business category. Jacob Rice of the Manson Northwest Webster FFA chapter seconded the motion. The motion passed. The Nominating Committee Chair, Eric Colmoose of the South O'Brien FFA chapter, presented the Nominating Committee Report. Colmoose presented the ballot for the 2015-2016 state officer candidates. Meyer asked for nominations from the floor. 0 nominations were made. Hansen moved to accept the Nominating Committee Report with an implied second. The motion passed. Elections were held for president, secretary, and reporter. The delegates were then directed to their district breakout sessions of Hilton Coliseum, where the elections of the state vice presidents were held. The elections were as followed. For the office of president, Michael Tupper of the New Hampton FFA chapter was voted over Mike Pogamiller of the Mediapolis FFA chapter. For the office of secretary, Kayla Kailberg of the West Liberty FFA chapter was voted over Michael Wright of the Des Moines FFA chapter. For the office of reporter, Amanda Anderson of the Algona FFA chapter was voted over Kaylee Cook of the North Fayette Valley FFA chapter. For the office of South Central Vice President, Erica Beyer of the Earlham FFA chapter was voted over Mia Konolowski of the Southeast Polk FFA chapter. For the office of Northwest Vice President, Haley Burley of the South Central Calhoun FFA chapter was voted over Colin Brown of the South Central Calhoun FFA chapter. For the office of Northeast Vice President, Alyssa Russ of the New Hampton FFA chapter was voted over Elena Platty of the Wapsie Valley FFA chapter. For the office of Southwest Vice President, Michaela Dolch of the Southwest Valley FFA chapter was voted in. For the office of the Southeast Vice President, Hunter Hamilton of the Lone Tree FFA chapter was voted over Trent Taglauer of the Fairfield FFA chapter. For the office of North Central Vice President, Brandon Hansen of the Iowa Falls Alden FFA chapter was voted over Olivia Bisbee of the St. Ansgar FFA chapter. The session adjourned at 11:56 a.m. Respectfully submitted, Lee Thompson, Iowa FFA Association, 2014-2015 State Secretary.
Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, the minutes of the previous convention stand approved as presented. In your packets, you received the financial report of the Iowa FFA Association. At this time, Mr. Scott Johnson, Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Iowa FFA Association, will present the financial report.
Good morning. If you'll refer to the financial report that was found at your delegate seating, I'll go through that briefly. On the front page, which is landscape oriented, you'll see the summary of banking accounts that are the active accounts as of month end March from this year and the previous 3 years. Following that is an income statement prepared from our financial recording system by our financial manager, Jana Fells. Starting with the front page, you'll notice under our total balances, I'll take a step back. You'll look at our Greenbelt Bank money market account. We transferred money from the Great Southern Bank account into the money market account so that we had over $50,000. That increases the interest rate that is drawn on that account and also provides our 5th year of savings in the event that federal Perkins dollars for career and technical student organizations would go away. Obviously, hopefully we don't, but we have built in our contingency there between that $50,000 and the $200,000 in the Greenbelt Bank CD. So for the most part, those balances are not touched. The Great Southern Bank account is our active checking and activity account for the Iowa FFA Association. So when you look at our bottom line, it will appear as though we are down $50,000 from the previous year. However, for the first time as I give this report relative to previous years, we have paid national FFA dues. The state association invoices all chapters for state and national dues, and then we turn around and pass through those dollars to national FFA. So the account balances for 2015 and prior included $90,000 to $100,000 that we would have paid to national FFA within a month after this convention. So our net gain for this previous year is actually plus $40,000 to $50,000, not a loss of $40,000 to $50,000. I would like to make sure to make a note to thank Jana Fells, our financial manager, for providing the income statement and having a record system and records that we can utilize to provide the statement that you're looking at today. You'll notice an increase in expense if you get to, I think it's on page 2, for meals and mileage. We have budgeted for that this year as well. Part of that increase in cost is having an FFA officer team that has been more active in engaging in the local chapter level with chapter visits, chapter workshops, and other activities. And I commend this year's state officer team on being engaged and active at the local level. We budgeted for that additional expense, and we're happy that they spent those additional dollars allocated to be engaged with you, the members, throughout the state, throughout the year. If there are no questions at this time, I will conclude my report.
I will now entertain a motion to accept the Iowa FFA Association financial report as presented. The chair recognizes the delegate from the South Central District. I didn't. Megan Panzengroff from the East Marshall FFA chapter. Is there a second? The chair recognizes the delegate from the Southwest District. Noah Carlson, Brokaw, FFA. It has been properly moved and seconded that we accept the 2015-2016 Iowa FFA Association Financial Report as presented. Are there any questions or clarifications? Hearing none, we will now proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Thank you. All opposed say nay.
So we're good with this then? They're all
Motion carries.
This one's
We will now hear from the Auditing Committee. These individuals spent this morning crunching numbers and making sure the Iowa FFA Association will remain financially sound this upcoming year. Madam Secretary, would you please read the names of the members of the Auditing Committee?
Members of the Auditing Committee, please step forward when your name is read. Michaela Coate of the Iowa Falls Alden FFA Chapter. Danica Tyndall of the Ekron at Westfield FFA Chapter. Sarah Norris of the Wayne FFA Chapter. Kaylee Rue of Talkhorn FFA. Davis Hayes of Starmont FFA Chapter. Austin Setham of the Pilot Creek. Maddie Hindley of the Baxter FFA Chapter. Alexis Bose of the Atlantic FFA Chapter. And Ryan Madison of the Marengo FFA Chapter. Please give another round of applause for the Auditing Committee.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Will the chair please come to the podium to give the committee report?
We, the Auditing Committee, recommend the following changes to the Board of Directors. We recommend that the Board of Directors provide a more detailed explanation of what reimbursement and miscellaneous income is. We recommend that the Board of Directors reconsider the budget for salaries to allow the budget to reflect the actual numbers better. We recommend that the Board of Directors also reconsider the budget to come to a more realistic number for the employee benefits. We recommend that the Board of Directors hold the chapters more accountable for paying their dues and chapter bills and urge them to pay the association on time. This could include a payment plan or late fees. We recommend evaluating the dollars spent on staff apparel merchandise. We should look at decreasing the amount to be approximately the same as the year that ended February 28, 2015. We recommend the Board of Directors evaluate the professional fees as contract services, expenses, and professional fees for accounting were both over budget. We recommend that the Board of Directors review the general material expenses and work to maintain a number that satisfies more clearly what the budget intended to be spent. We recommend for the Board of Directors to justify why the auto expenses and fuel were so low, totaling $127.29 compared to the $2,550 that was budgeted, and keep this in consideration for next year's budget. We recommend the association evaluate the overall expenses and look for more income to ensure that we are not consistently ending our net assets lower than when the fiscal year started. We congratulate the association on maintaining good advertisement for our members while being approximately $3,000 below the budget for that expense. I move to approve the Auditing Committee Report.
Thank you. Since this is a committee report, it carries an implied second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we will now proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Oh, thank you. All those opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you for your leadership and hard work, Marcia. As a token of our appreciation, I present to you this conference t-shirt.
Thank you.
A program of activities is an essential part of the success of every chapter. Not only does it provide for direction from year to year, but it also defines chapter goals and purposes. Just as every chapter outlines a program of activities, the Iowa FFA Association has members from across the state that define and outline activities of the Iowa FFA. Madam Secretary, would you please read the names of the members of the Program of Activities Committee?
Would you please step forward as your name is read? The Chair, Holly Cook of the East Buchanan FFA Chapter. Lauren Mosier of the Grundy Center FFA Chapter. Etka Nada of the Lindmar FFA Chapter. Lexi Coley of the Ekron Westfield Chapter. Karen Dawson of the Manson Northwest at Webster Chapter. Jed Miller of the Ballard FFA Chapter. Haley Hunt of the West Central Valley FFA Chapter. Greta Schmidt of the Mid-Prairie FFA Chapter. Emily Sogling of the Atlantic FFA Chapter. Caitlin Belding of the Lenox FFA Chapter. And Alyssa McMichael of the West Liberty FFA Chapter. Please give them another round of applause.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. To give the report of the Program of Activities Committee, please welcome the committee chairperson, Holly Cook of the East Buchanan FFA Chapter.
The Program of Activities Committee recommends maintaining the current high standards for activities. We discuss and recommend the following: an increase in the involvement and recruitment of middle school members and non-members through the following activities. First, having a discovery fire-up for members and non-members at the district level and include induction to FFA and activities. Secondly, a statewide Discovery FFA Week to promote FFA to middle school students. And third, continue creating or add middle school CDE events, especially individual events. We also discussed more extensive chapter officer training at Colt and committee member training. Thank you. Mr. President, I move to accept the Program of Activities Committee report as read.
Thank you. Since this is a committee report, it carries an implied second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we will now proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Thank you. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you for committing the time and effort as leader of your committee, Holly. As a token of our appreciation, I present to you this conference t-shirt and certificate of the Iowa FFA Association. Please thank the members who have been instrumental in the business of the Iowa FFA Association through their time and service on a committee one more time. Moving on to new business, I will now entertain a motion to set dues at $7.50 again for the 2016-2017 school year. The chair recognizes the delegate from the Southeast District.
McKenna Brenning from the Washington FFA chapter. Mr. President, I move to set dues at $7.50 for the 2016-2017 school year.
Is there a second? The chair recognizes the delegate from the North Central District.
Weston Grace from the Winterset FFA chapter. I second the motion.
Thank you. It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of setting state dues at $7.50 for the 2016-2017 school year, please signify by saying aye. Thank you. All opposed? Motion carries. Any more additions? For 12 members, last week was filled with interviews, essays, analyzing applications, calculating results, and making decisions. The members of the 2016 Iowa FFA Nominating Committee chose to spend 3 days prior to convention choosing the 18 candidates who are the most able to serve the Iowa FFA. Please welcome 12 incredibly influential Iowa FFA members, the 2016 State Nominating Committee. Will you please step forward as your name is called? Andrea Ross, East Sac, Committee Chair. Kelly Wicks, Rockford, FFA. Allie Babcock, Gilbert, FFA. Caleb Cruzy, Macokota Valley, FFA. AJ Crow Schrader, Linn-Mar, FFA. Terry Knock, Clay Central Everly. Amy Ewing, Wayne. Caitlin Peterson, Ballard. Rhett Leonard, Mid-Prairie, FFA. Cassie Heitman, Williamsburg. Zach Dudley, Davis Rogers.
Smart Josh.
And Grant Sanders, Carroll Area, FFA. I now call Andrea Ross, Chair of the 2016 Iowa FFA Nominating Committee, to the podium to read the Iowa FFA State Officer Candidate Ballot.
Here are your 2016 and 17 state officer nominees. From the South Central Vice President, Zach Huffman and Jenny Peterson. From the North Central Vice President, Victoria Butt and Coley Forsyth. For the Southeast Vice President, Anna Brooks and Savannah Keitzer. From the Southwest Vice President, Haley Carlson and Zoe Shook. For the Northeast Vice President, Kaylee Cook and Cole Moody. For the Northwest Vice President, Blake Lineweaver and Stacy Nims. For reporter, Libby Pfister and Zachary Hamilton. For secretary, Alyssa Dean and Chase Kuzel. And for president, Michaela Dolch and Alyssa Russ. Mr. President, I move to accept the nominating committee report as presented.
Since this is a committee report, there is an implied second. I will now call for nominations from the floor. Only those individuals who have submitted an application and completed the interview process are eligible to be nominated. I remind you that the members of the 2016 State Nominating Committee have spent many in-depth hours interviewing, analyzing, and balloting the most qualified candidates to serve the 2016-2017 Iowa FFA State Officer Team. Please respect their work. With that, I will call for nominations for all offices. Are there any nominations for any office? Nominations, nominations, nominations cease. We will now proceed to vote on the nominating committee report. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Thank you. All opposed, say nay. Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you, Andrea, for all your efforts and the time that you and the committee have given to the selection of this year's state officer candidate ballot. Please accept this conference t-shirt, an Iowa FFA themed t-shirt, as a token of our appreciation. From this point forward, it is vital that each delegate follows the instructions given in order for the election process to be completed in as efficient manner as possible. At this time, Logan Bauer will escort all balloted officer candidates to the holding area. We will now have the election of the 2016-2017 Iowa FFA State Officer Team. We will vote on the offices of President, Secretary, and Reporter first. Each of these candidates will be given 2 minutes to speak and then ask questions. To maintain fairness, the same individuals must ask each candidate the same questions. The individuals who will be asking the questions, the at-large officer candidates, have already been selected. One reminder, there will be no applause. I repeat, no applause after candidates have given their speech or answered any questions. Will those delegates selected to ask questions to the candidates please go to the Secretary's desk at this time? Will the first candidate for president please be escorted to the stage? The first candidate for the office of president is Michaela Dolch from the Southwest Valley FFA chapter. Michaela, you will have 2 minutes to speak. You may begin.
Growing up, there was one summer event I look forward to most, the Montgomery County Fair. Fair meant 6 days of hanging out with friends, watching livestock shows, eating lots of food, but my favorite, participating in the tractor pedal pull. I was so excited to jump onto that pedal toy tractor, which was attached to a sled loaded with weights. The idea was to pedal to a white tape line 100 feet away, but the goal was to earn that beautiful first place trophy. As my turn came, I jumped onto the tractor and pedaled with all the might my little 8-year-old self could muster. As I began to pedal, the weights on the sled moved upward, increasing the weight. Pretty soon, I was 3 feet away from that white tape line. But my legs were losing strength, and the tractor tires seemed to spin in place. I was stuck. Recently, I read a book that really relates to this story, entitled The Extra Degree. The author states that at 211 degrees, water is hot. At 212 degrees, it boils. Boiling water creates steam, and steam is enough to power a locomotive. That one extra degree makes all the difference. In business and in life, that one extra degree can take you from good to great. Just like I was pedaling in that tractor pull, I was ready to give up. But by going the extra degree, I was able to accomplish my goal. FFA members, I, Michaela Dolch, would be honored to serve as your 2016-2017 Iowa FFA president to take Iowa FFA to that next degree. Thank you.
Reminder that there is no applause after a candidate is done speaking, no applause. Thank you. Please escort the first candidate back to the holding area. Will the second candidate please be escorted to the stage? The second candidate for the office of president is Elissa Russ from the New Hampton FFA chapter. Elissa, you will have 2 minutes to speak. You may begin.
When I think of my high school, the first image that pops to my mind is my ag room. Old plaques and photos litter the walls, books and materials are scattered across the room, and there always seems to be a distinct smell. Now, despite the organized chaos that is my ag room, it was my home. I would go there before school started, after classes ended, and spent countless study halls between those four walls. It was my home. And I'm sure all of your ag rooms feel like home to you as well. There's something special about ag rooms that's kind of hard to explain. What would make high school students want to spend more time in a classroom than what is required? It's because it's where we belong. It's where we can go to ask questions and learn in a way that works best for us. It's where we go when we're having a bad day and where we go to celebrate life's achievements. And it's where any student with any background can come and be a part of something bigger than themselves. Just like our ag rooms, FFA is home to all of us. It's where we found our niche and where we serve others. This past year of serving all of you has been unbelievable. Time and time again, I was reminded of the community that exists within FFA and felt humbled to be a part of it. I would be honored to serve as your 2016-2017 Iowa FFA State President and continue to make members feel at home within the FFA. Thank you.
Thank you. Will the first candidate please be escorted back to the stage?
We will have 4 questions for the president candidates. A question will be asked a specific candidate. The candidate will answer the question and then complete the second, and then when will complete. The second candidate will answer the question. You will have 1 minute to answer each question. Michaela, as a good leader, you have guided a team through. How will you guide a team through failure and success?
Could you repeat that one more time, please?
As a good leader, how will you guide a team through failure and success?
Thank you. As the Iowa FFA president, I would lead you guys over bumps and bruises that we may encounter throughout our time in service, but it's how we deal with those problems that matters most. We're given a limited amount of time on this earth, and it's how we spend it that matters most. As FFA president, I would do my best to serve the Iowa FFA by taking control, by working with each member to hear your ideas and put them forward to this association to make it the best that it can be.
Alyssa, as a good leader, how will you guide a team through failure and success?
One quote that I heard this fall while I was talking with my roommate was, "You either win or you learn." And with every success and every failure comes an opportunity to learn and to become better for the future. Within the FFA, we all know that we have countless opportunities, and some happen the way we want them to, and some don't happen quite how we plan. But as state president, I would make sure that I'm communicating with my team members and the 14,000 members that are across the state to make sure that we look at the opportunities that we have and see that each of them is a learning opportunity and there's a chance for us to grow, whether or not it was a success or a failure.
Alyssa, describe the ideal president and how you exemplify those qualities.
Can you repeat the question?
Describe the ideal state president and how you exemplify those qualities.
I see the ideal state president as someone that is relatable to their members and is a really good team player with their teammates. I find myself very relatable to FFA members. Throughout high school, I was involved in a variety of things, from band to speech to sports, pretty much everything under the sun, and I find it easy to relate to members and help them find their passions and find their niche in the FFA. As a team member, I find it easy to create harmony among my teammates to make sure that we are working together the best that we can to serve the members of the association, to make sure that we continue to move forward and progress the Iowa FFA Association.
Michaela, Describe the ideal state president and how you exemplify those qualities.
I think an Iowa FFA president needs to be very optimistic, detail-oriented, and dedicated. With those qualities, I think they can lead the organization to the best of their ability. By being dedicated, they can carry out the responsibilities that are required at hand and need to be accomplished in a certain amount of time. I think detail-oriented and organization play a huge role as carrying out the duties as president in ordering the team to help them to best serve the Iowa FFA members across the state. By being optimistic, they're always carrying an optimistic attitude, a positive light to the association to bring that to the consumers, whether that's in the agricultural realm or within the FFA organization itself, to bring that positive light to the industry that we as agriculturalists are moving this industry forward.
Michaela, how has your character helped you to change and adapt in this past year as a state officer?
This past year, I've had the humble opportunity to travel all across the state. I made it a goal this year to attend 20 chapter visits, but thankfully, by the good grace of God, I was able to attend 33 chapter visits to intermingle with all of you. I think this speaks wonders as dedication to the organization and the optimistic attitude that I carry out. I think my character possesses a lot of kind-hearted and genuine character that each and every member I meet has something special to offer, has something special to share. And I think by serving as president, I'm able to carry out that character to each of you. I'm reminded of the character counts that we all heard about in elementary school. If you get 10 tickets, you get to go on the trip. But if you get one taken away, or you get all of them taken away, you're not necessarily going to get to go on that trip. By carrying those morals and values that have been instilled within us and in this organization and industry throughout our time, I think best fits my character as a person and how I can better the FFA.
Alyssa, how has your character helped you to change and adapt this past year as a state officer?
So my character exhibits a lot of different qualities. One of the first one is being hardworking. And this year as a state officer, it can be very difficult to manage everything within state office as well as school and family and just life in general. And being able to have the focus and have the dedication to what I'm doing within the FFA has allowed me to grow and serve as a state officer this past year.
What sets you apart from the other candidates?
One thing that sets me apart from the other candidates is my all-out dedication for agricultural education as a whole. When we think of ag ed, we think of this blue corduroy jacket, and that's where it begins, and that's what we automatically think of. But there's so much to that community that exists beyond this blue corduroy jacket. Each and every one of us has had our lives changed by agricultural education. And I am just so excited to be able to spend my career as an ag ed teacher and continue to change lives. And every single aspect of agricultural education is exciting to me. Whether it's thinking about writing lesson plans or coming to a state convention as an advisor or thinking about education policy, whatever it is that encompasses ag ed is something that I am so passionate about and I'm extremely excited to be able to have a future in. And that's what sets me apart from the other candidates.
Michaela, what sets you apart from the other candidate?
I think I possess a lot of kindness and compassion towards everyone I meet. Meeting members from all across the state this year has really fueled my passion, not only as a state officer, but as a member. When I was a freshman, I remember looking up to those state officers and thinking, wow, those are incredible individuals. But standing in the blue jacket today with Southwest Vice President engraved, entitled on the jacket, I don't think of myself as better than anyone else. I think of myself as a member just like you guys because I once was in a position. The title doesn't matter. And I think by showing that humbleness and by being genuine with everyone I meet, I think that's what helps me set myself apart from the other candidates.
Thank you. Please escort the presidential candidates back to the holding area. We will now vote on the office of president. Nominating committee members will distribute ballots for the office of president. As reminded, Michaela Dolch, From the Southwest Vice President, and Alyssa Russ from the New Hampton chapter, FFA chapter.
Once again, the candidates were Michaela Dolch from the Southwest Valley FFA chapter and Alyssa Russ from the New Hampton FFA chapter. Please be respectful while voting by not discussing with other delegates. Please cast your ballot at this time. Thank you for your patience. Will the first candidate for secretary please be escorted onto the stage? The first candidate for the office of secretary is Alyssa Dean from the Griswold FFA chapter. You will have 2 minutes to speak. You may begin.
Thank you, Michael. You never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. Dr. Seuss. To me, it didn't matter whether I was in the blue jacket or in my favorite FFA t-shirt. They all came together to form this important time in my life, where I believed, I grew, I ignited, I went all out, and I amplified with the FFA. These just happened to be the themes of each of the 5 years that I've been in the FFA. My freshman year, my first national convention, my first general session, I was sitting there in awe of all the blue jackets when the theme came on, I believe. It became the foundation of the memories that would happen that year. My sophomore year came along and the theme was grow. I grew with agriculture, grew as a leader, grew as a person, all because of the FFA. The FFA gave me the confidence I needed to be a leader that I wanted to be. Ignite was the theme my junior year. The passion and desire to be something bigger than myself, to give back to the organization that had given me so much. My final chapter, my senior year, go all out for agriculture, give it all you've got, because in a few short months, high school will be over, and college will begin pursuing my passion for agriculture. During my freshman year at Iowa State, I have been amplifying my passion for agriculture and the FFA. During this time, I realized I wasn't ready for my FFA career to be over. There was too many friends and too much to spread to each of the new FFA members. So please, FFA members, let's make more memories together and spread my passion for agriculture and the FFA as your 2016-2017 State Secretary. Thank you.
Thank you. Please escort the first candidate back to the holding area. Will the second candidate for secretary please be escorted to the stage? The second candidate for the office of secretary is Chase Kusel from the Benton Community FFA chapter. You will have 2 minutes to speak. You may begin.
I don't know about you guys, but I love mac and cheese. Now, I know you're probably wondering where this is going, but hear me out. Mac and cheese is always there for you. Are you hungry? Eat some mac and cheese. Are you bored? Eat some mac and cheese. You want to lose weight? That's right, eat some mac and cheese, but don't eat mine. Just kidding, but really no matter what the situation, mac and cheese has always been there for me. Just like if I were elected, I will always be there for each and every one of you serving as a state officer. The foundation for mac and cheese is completely based on agriculture, just like me. The first foundation is the water. The water is what starts the mac and cheese and boils it up to its full potential, just like my dad did for me when I was young. My dad was the first one to introduce me to agriculture while instilling in me my hard work ethic and teaching me to give 120% into whatever I do. The second foundation is the noodles. Once the noodles are placed in the water, they start to grow, just like my passion for agriculture did when I was first introduced. The third and final foundation is the cheese. The cheese is what works everything together to produce such a delicious product each and every time. Just like if I were elected, I would work with my fellow officers to bring one of the greatest years the Iowa FFA Association has seen to this date. All of these foundations have made me into the outgoing, advocating, and passionate person that I am today. So fellow FFA members, I hope this speech wasn't too cheesy for you guys. But what's not cheesy is my passion and dedication for this great organization and for each and every one of you. So vote for me, Chase Kusel, as your 2016-2017 State Secretary. And who knows, maybe we can enjoy some mac and cheese together.
Thank you. Will the first candidate please be escorted back to the stage?
We will now have 2 questions for the secretary candidates. A question will be asked to a specific candidate. The candidate will answer the question. When complete, the second candidate will answer the question. You will have 1 minute for each question. Alyssa, as a good leader, how will you work with the team through failure and success?
Through personal experiences in high school, working with teams that sometimes failed and sometimes went through with success, to me, it's all about the teamwork and bringing us all together, whether it's with fail or with success. Thank you.
Chase, as a good leader, how will you work with a team through failure and success?
Being involved in many group activities within high school, it has really prepared me to work on a team. And I think one of the best part of the teams is really just trying to work together and bond together, because if you have that connection, there is nothing that you can't get through. The highs and the lows, you're going to get through all of it together.
All right, Chase, describe the ideal state officer and how you exemplify those qualities.
I think an ideal state officer has to be approachable. You're going to be in this leadership position, and you have to be able to go and connect with members, whether it's at state leadership conference or even going to their chapters. Another thing the state officer should possess is you have to have passion. You have to have passion for agriculture and for this great FFA organization. A third characteristic that you have to have is responsibility. You're being in this leadership position, you have to be responsible, and I need all you guys to be able to trust me with my job as being a state officer.
Alyssa, describe the ideal state officer and how you exemplify those qualities.
To be the ideal state officer, you need to have passion for agriculture and passion for being in the FFA. Another one is to be inspiring. You're around so many different FFA members and they look up to you, and you need to inspire them each and every day, whether it's in the blue jacket or without it. Another one is teamwork. You're going to work with 8 other people, and you're going to spend a lot of gruesome hours with them. So you need to come together and form a bond.
Thank you. Please escort the candidates back to the holding area.
Thank you.
We will now vote for the office of secretary. Nominating committee members, please distribute ballots for the office of secretary. As a reminder, the candidates were Alyssa Dean from the Griswold FFA chapter, Chase Kusel from the Benton Community FFA chapter. Once again, please be respectful while voting by not conferring with the other delegates. Please cast your ballot at this time. Will the nominating committee please collect the ballots?
Thank you for your patience. Will the first candidate for reporter please be escorted to the stage? The first candidate for the office of reporter is Libby Fisher of the North Lynn FFA chapter. You will have 2 minutes to speak. You may begin.
My roommate Riley is terrified of snakes, and my little sister Maddie is deathly afraid of heights. But my biggest fear, something you guys can probably relate to, is failure. Last year during state convention, my biggest fear became a reality when the state officer ballot was announced and my name was not on it. My initial reaction was disappointment. My dream had been crushed. But my disappointment quickly turned to negativity as my mind raced with thoughts of all of the mistakes I had made during interviews. For weeks, my cloud of negativity followed me around. But eventually, I was able to look at the experience with positivity. As college started, I became active on campus, but I found myself helping out at a number of FFA events throughout the year, facilitating at various Colt and Green Hand conferences, as well as having the opportunity to serve as a nominating committee member for the North Central District continued to fuel my passion for the FFA and my desire to serve. Just 3 short months ago, I was once again faced with my biggest fear as I turned in my application for state office. I knew that I wanted to run, but I was terrified that I would fail once again. Just when I thought about giving in to my fear, I found a quote that gave me some perspective. The quote read, "Fear has 2 meanings. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise." As FFA members, we have all experienced moments of fear that tempted us to forget everything and run, whether it was competing in a contest at state convention, running for chapter office, or attending national convention for the first time. If you elect me to serve you as a state officer, I would love nothing more than the opportunity to help you face everything and rise as you face your fears and seize every opportunity that the FFA has to offer.
Thank you. Please escort the first candidate back to the holding area. The second candidate for the office of reporter is Zach Hamilton from the Northeast Goose Lake FFA chapter. You will have 2 minutes to speak. You may begin.
When I was in preschool, Mrs. Martin stopped me in the hall and said, "Zach, we're going to start calling you Smiley." I was so confused and asked why. "Whenever we see you, you make us smile." I strutted around the preschool, grinning from ear to ear with my pre-braces crooked teeth, and sure enough, I made everyone smile. This continued until I got to high school. That smile turned from cute to awkward. Freshman year, I was in my blue jacket, scared to death as I was about to give the creed at district convention. Another member, seeing my panic, stopped to talk to me. He calmed my nerves and made me smile. I felt like everything was going to be okay. I went in all ready to recite the creed and forgot a word. Even though I forgot exert, I never forgot the person who made me feel that I belong. As it turns out, that person was the current state FFA president. From this moment, all the conventions, the CDEs, and the many new friends, FFA restored my confidence and my cheesy grin. FFA members, I want to make you smile. Whether it is that big cheesy grin or just a regular smile, I will exert every effort to help members to reach their potential, just as I was helped to reach mine. Then we can all have that big cheesy grin together and strut around showing off our leadership ability. So vote me, Zach Hamilton, as your 2016-2017 Iowa State FFA reporter, and we can smile together. Thank you.
Thank you. Will the first candidate please be escorted back to the stage?
Okay. Libby. As a good leader, how will you work with a team through failure and success?
I think that as a team, it's really important that all teammates possess different characteristics that will make them successful within the team. For me, some of my biggest strengths are discipline, the fact that I'm a developer, and the fact that I have empathy for others. To start with discipline, I'm someone who's very organized, and I like to meet deadlines and make sure that everything is taken care of. When it comes to a developer, that means that I'm someone who's very interested in the growth of others and making sure others are always learning. When it comes to having empathy, that means that I am always caring for the feelings of others of my teammates. I deeply care for everyone, and I like to make everyone feel like they're loved.
All right, Chase. Describe a good leader and how you will work with the team through failure and success.
Sorry, can you repeat the question? Thank you.
As a good leader, how will you work with the team through failure and success?
So as a leader, you have to work with your team through those mountain-high peaks of great times and also those valley-low times where things aren't looking so great. But for me, I always look at it as how it's going to positively impact other people. So for me, it may not have been that great of an experience, but it could have changed the life of a member, of a person, even at home if I'm working with my sheep. It could have changed their outcome. And so as a good leader, the way that I would work through those mountain highs and those valley lows is that I would go through them and make that positive impact on everyone as much as I possibly can.
Chase, describe the ideal state officer and how you exemplify those qualities.
So for me, that ideal state officer is someone who is relatable and on the same level with the FFA members. So as I kind of talked about in my speech, I had one experience with Stephen Broxius where he came to me as this lowly little freshman and helped me calm down and get ready for district creed speaking. I saw this as a great opportunity to do the same thing for other people. I want to give that great positive impact on all the members of the state and be able to bring them up when they're feeling low, even though I have that title in the position.
Libby, describe the ideal state officer and how you exemplify those qualities.
Well, first of all, I really do not believe that there is an ideal state officer. What makes a great team and a great state officer team is that every officer will possess different qualities and bring different strengths to the team. So as I just mentioned before, I'm someone who is very disciplined and very organized. I like to keep a calendar, I'm good at meeting deadlines, and I keep on top of all of my work. I'm also a developer, which means that I love seeing growth in others. I love working with people and to help them learn new things, and that's where I get my most satisfaction in life, is seeing people grow. And last, I have a lot of empathy. So in situations of failure with teammates, I am able to comfort them and also give them the motivation to move forward. The same goes with FFA members. I love being able to connect with them and learn about them and really encourage them to face their fears within the FFA.
Thank you. Please escort the candidates back to the holding area. We will now vote for the office of reporter. Nominating committee members, please distribute ballots for the office of reporter. As a reminder, candidates were Chase Kugel of the East Goose Lake FFA chapter and Libby Pfister of the North Lynn FFA chapter. Please be respectful while voting by not conferring with other delegates. Please cast your ballot at this time. Will the nominating committee please collect the ballots?
The Secretary's desk has an announcement at this time. If we are in the arena, please pay attention. Could people in sections 139, section 105, section 132, section 112, section 134, and section 110 please find seats in a different section, as that's where we will be conducting the district breakout sessions, elections for the officers. Again, if you are in sections 139, 105, 132, 112, 134, or section 110, we ask you to please find a seat in another section so that we can expedite the process of elections. Thank you very much.
We will now vote on the offices of State Vice President. Once everyone has arrived at their breakout area, the candidates will be allowed 2 minutes to present a speech. Following the speeches, nominating committee members will proceed to ask 2 questions. Questions will alternate first responses among candidates. As the vice presidents represent their representative districts, only delegates from those districts will vote on the vice president position. To achieve this, we will separate the delegate body, sending each district to a different area to hear the speeches of their candidates. The same rules apply to the election of vice presidents as the reporter and secretary. 2 minutes to speak and 1 minute to answer each question. A nominating committee member from the respective district will be responsible for asking the questions. When you have finished casting your ballots, we ask that you remain where you are until the results of your district have been confirmed. At that time, members of the Courtesy Corps will escort you. As I dismiss you, the Courtesy Corps members from that respective district will escort the delegate body to their respective area. At this time, the Northwest delegates are dismissed. Please follow your coordinators to section 139. The Northwest delegates are dismissed. Please follow your coordinators to section 139. At this time, the Northeast delegates are dismissed. Please follow your coordinators to section 105. The Northeast delegates are dismissed. Please follow your coordinators to section 105. At this time, the Southwest delegates are dismissed. Please follow your coordinators to section 132. The Southwest delegates are dismissed. Please follow your coordinators to section 132. At this time, the Southeast delegates are dismissed. Please follow your coordinators to section 112. At this time, the Southeast delegates are dismissed. Please follow your coordinator to section 112. Please sit as a chapter pair as you get to your section. Please sit as a chapter pair of delegates when you get to your section. At this time, The North Central delegates are dismissed. Please follow your coordinators to section 134. At this time, the North Central delegates are dismissed. Please follow your coordinators to section 134. At this time, the South Central delegates are dismissed. Please follow your coordinators to section 110. At this time, the South Central delegates are dismissed. Please follow your coordinators to section 110.
Arena, if we could please keep the noise to a minimum as our candidates are delivering their speeches, as they do not have microphones or speaker systems. If we could please keep the noise down to a minimum so that each of our candidates can be heard by the delegates that are listening to their speeches. Thank you very much.
The Secretary's desk has one announcement at this time. Anyone who is participating in talent, we will be needing you to check in at the Secretary's desk around 12:35, 12:40 to check in and do your sound check. Anyone who is participating in talent, check into the Secretary's desk at 12:40 to check in for talent. Immediately following the business session, we will be clearing the arena for some technical difficulties. Immediately following the business session, everyone needs to exit the arena so that we can do some checks. Thank you. I have one correction. If you will be doing a sound check for talent, please come down to the floor now. If you will be doing a sound check for talent, please come down to the Secretary's desk now. At this time, we will start to clear out the arena so that we can do some tech checks.
Madam Secretary, have all the ballots been counted?
All ballots have been counted and there are no recounts.
Congratulations, you have selected your 2016-2017 Iowa FFA State Officer team. The results of the elections will be announced during the 4th General Session. We hope that you stay and see the collective results of your individual vote. On behalf of the Iowa FFA Association, we cannot thank you enough for your time and effort spent here today. Our Constitution states that state delegates are required to meet once a year to set dues and conduct other association business. This is a vital part of our annual State Leadership Conference. Madam Secretary, do you have a record of any further business which should now be transacted?
I have none, Mr. President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should properly come before this business session? We are about to adjourn the delegate business session of the 88th Iowa FFA Leadership Conference. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, join me in a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I now declare this session adjourned.
The Secretary's desk has one announcement at this time. The light and sound crew needs the entire arena cleared out so that we can do some final testing on some of the different effects that we have. So if we could please clear the arena as quickly as possible so that we can get underway with the talent on time. Thank you.
We would like to reiterate that this is for your safety. Please exit the arena at this time. Thank you. All people, please exit the arena at this time. Anyone who is participating in talent, please report now to the side of the stage by the secretary's desk. Anyone who needs a sound check who is participating in talent, please report now. All else, please leave the arena at this time. Attention Courtesy Corps and anyone else on the concourse at this time, if you could please face the back wall or step out into the main concourse while you're watching those doors. We want to protect your eyeballs at this time. Please face the wall or step outside of the doors.